Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Tina. We are going to introduce useEffect hook in this video. useEffect is a React hook used to perform side effects. What are side effects? Wait a minute for a second. I want to have a pen here. Side effects. What are side effects? Like AJAX request to server side, modify DOM, and so on. So components and when to perform these side effects is not triggered by events, but by the rendering itself. It's like when my page finishes rendering, I want to display a collection of users. So this when to fetch this a collection of users is not triggered by an action like a click button or something. It's triggered after finish rendering. So here is useEffect use and perform side effects and not triggered by the events but by the rendering itself. When finish rendering, when React finish rendering, I need some data. Okay. So in the diagram there are no user event occurred. After component is rendered, it needs to fetch data from server. The entire process belongs to operations triggered solely by the rendering. Okay, so then in this case, you can use effect. Because if you're not using effect, you're gonna have problem. So let's see the problem. Okay, I'm going to go back to our View Studio Code. I'm going to create a folder called useEffect. Okay, demo. And then here I'm going to create a user component. Okay, I'm going to create a new file called user, which is fetch user.tsx. Here I host some user data. No, not a user. I think it's not a user. Let's see. Okay, I forgot. Here have some data. Which is the channels. Okay, which like this way. The data.json I host on the GitHub. You can directly use just a collection of JSON. Okay. And what I'm going to do is when my page finishes rendering, I want to display all the channels inside my page. Okay, when the page finishes rendering. So here I'm going to rename it to be channels. Okay. And then RFC is going to have a channels, and here I'm going to display what? I'm going to let's just have a UL. Okay, inside here I'm going to display a collection of channels. So here what are we gonna do? What we can do is like this way. Here I'm going to have a const of channels, set channels. Okay, equals use state channels. Here we can give an empty array. And what's inside this array? A channel will have ID and name. So I'm going to create an interface here. And have ID. ID is a number. And have, let me see if it's a number type. Okay. A number. And have a name. Name is a string. A string. So here, the use state going to have what? Use state going to have an array, which is channel array, like this way. Okay, and here is empty array, which contains nothing. And next one is how can I? Here I'm going to do a rendering. Okay, here to do rendering, channels dot map. For the map, you will get each channel. Each channel I'm going to display in the li. Li here I'm going to display c.name. c.name. Okay, and don't forget here should have a key. Key I'm going to use c.id. Okay, so now is when the page finish rendering, I'm going to display channels, right? So here we can have a method called fetch const fetch channels. Okay, equals, you can use async await. Here I'm going to use, you can also use promise. Here I'm going to use async await. Okay, then I will do await what? Await fetch what? Fetch for this URL. And here I'm going to have a const which is response, because fetch will give us response in 2 steps. One is response doesn't have a body, and we have to resolve again. Data equals await response.json. Okay, 2 steps. And the data we have is the entire object. We only need to have the channels array. So when we call set channels, I will get data dot channels, data channels. Let me make sure I'm not spelling wrong. Okay, channels, this one. Okay, and then I'm going to make a call to this to this function. Here I'm going to do is have a console log. Here fetch channels. Inside this fetch channel function. Okay, now let's see. I'm going to put the channel inside the app component CHAN channels. Okay, then let me get inside the project. Start the application. Now if you see, just wait. Okay, guys, if I don't open the console, oh, you will see, hey, it works, right? No problem. But take a look at the console. You see, the fetch channel is keep it's here, see this scroll bar. It's keep making requests to the server side. Why does it happen? Because see here, it's keep, and my computer fan is running, okay, fast now. Okay, I'm going to turn on. So what happened? Why here the fetch channel is being printed continuously with non-stop, kind of like, and suddenly you are here. If you are working in your own laptop, you will see your fan keep running. Okay, the reason is because what? Take a look at our code. When we make a request, when we run the app, it's gonna run the channel. Run the channel is to do what? Just to make a call to a channel. Okay, so here, let's see here. I'm going to just console log channel. Okay, channels component. Okay, channels component, and when you see here, like localhost 3000, and you will see the channel component gonna be printed here. See, channel component. Why twice? Is because here we use strict mode. It's gonna run twice. Okay, and as you can see here, whenever I put a channel here, it will cause entire function to be executed, and whatever being returned gonna be displayed on the page, right? So when the first time I put the channels here, when I put the channels here, it's gonna call the function. So I will turn on to say, okay, call the function. I will see channel component. I will see the use state by default. The first time gonna be empty array. Then I'm going to fetch channels. Fetch channel gonna do what? It's going to make a call to the server side and do a wait. And when we will call set channels will trigger what? Set channels will trigger re-render. Re-render gonna cause what? Re-render gonna cause the channel being called again. the entire function gonna be called again, or you have this one printed out. You're gonna go channels because it's being set, so you're gonna have the channels. That's why you see the data being populated here. And then I'm going to fetch channels again. Fetch channels, fetch, and the set channel. Set channel gonna go what? It will cause the re-rendering. Re-rendering will cause everything inside the function channel component to be executed again. Oh, you have channels, you have set channels. Go here. Oh, fetch channel, or set channels. We'll call again, and that will cause continuous running. They're non-stop. Okay, so it will take lots of CPUs, all the things. That's why if I run the code in the browser, you will see fetch channel, this one, and since I add this line, you will see both of the lines will be continuously being printed in our console. And that's the problem, and that's the thing we can fix use effect hook, okay? Because what we want is just when the page is rendering, right? Not every time. But when we call set channel, it will cause the re-render. Re-render will cause the entire function executed again, and your fetch channel again, and you can here kind of have a recursion here. Okay. So how to solve problem? Yes, use effect. Use effect will allows you to perform side effects in functional components, as we mentioned earlier. It accepts two arguments, effective callback function. So use effective. The first one is a function. Okay, the first one is a function. The first part is function. The function contains a code for the side effect you want to perform. For us, what is side effect? Which is this fetch user. Okay, this fetch user. No, this part. I should say is this one. Okay, fetch user function call, because that one is function declaration. You want form, it runs after component renders. Dependency array is optional, an array of dependencies that determines when the effect should be rerun. If you omit the array, the effect will run after every render. Is kind of the same as the behavior you have now. If you provide an array, the effect will only run when one of the dependency changes. So let's go detail. The execution of use effect hook, okay, effect function varies depending on the dependency passed in. Defined execution behavior will occur based on provided dependency. So if you didn't provide an array which is empty, it will run on every render. If you have an empty array, it will run only once after initial render. That is exactly what we want for previous demo, to solve the previous demo. Arrays with dependency, you can have dependency here, it runs on first render, and anytime when the dependency value changes. So let's fix the previous problem first. Okay, I'm going to fix one we want is it's use effect. Okay, you can use effect. It's a hook, and the first parameter is a function. And if we just do now, it's gonna be run every render. Then what we need is empty array. When we give empty array, it only will run after initial rendering. So we want to see the fetch channel being printed constantly. Okay, so let's take a look at refresh. Close everything. Now refresh. You will see twice. The other time is because strict mode. Let me turn off the strict mode. Okay, you will see why it's twice. Okay. Okay. Then I'm going to do is go here now. You will see only once, not continuously, because the code we fixed use effect is for this one only after initial render call fetch channel. Okay, and when we call fetch channel on the initial rendering, okay, after we executed this one, finish the rendering of this part, rendering which is empty, then we will call fetch channel will call set channel, right? Set channel will cause entire thing be executed again. It's gonna be channel already being setted, and this one will declare again. And when you see this one, this is not the initial rendering. I'm not going to execute the things here, so I'm just render this part. That is how it happened. Okay, initial rendering. Hope you try write demo from scratch by yourself. You will understand. Okay. Next one, use case for useEffect without dependency. Using useEffect without dependency array means the effect runs on every render. This can lead to performance issue if the effect involves expensive operations or updates can be avoided. Here we have an example which is a log on every render. Okay, I'm going to do is do like this way. Close all. I'm going to have a logger. Logger.tsx rfc logger, and here we'll bring our favorite demo const count set count, and here we'll use state, and use state give 0. Okay, and here we'll have a counter count, and I'm going to have a button. Why we have this one is because I want to mimic every render. It will cause the logger, the useEffect being triggered on click, which is set count, which is count +1. And here I'm going to do is here I'm going to have useEffect. useEffect no dependency at all here. So here I'm just to have a console.log inside useEffect. Okay, do that this way. So I'm going to, I forgot to put a logger here. Here I'm going to comment this one, and then I'm going to have a logger. Then I'm going to have here logger. So at the beginning you will see useEffect is the initial rendering, and whenever I make a change, okay, on my state, which will cause the page to be re-rendered, and every time you render, it will cause inside useEffect being printed. Okay, so this is this part logger, like this one. Okay, useEffect logger, and here we will talk about it later, which is a return. You can, because it's a function, okay, the first parameter is a function can return a value, and useEffect accept you return another function, and this function is a cleanup. We'll talk about it later. Okay. useEffect cleanup, which is before the useEffect being re-rendered, it's gonna call the cleanup for the return functions here. Every time now, so after inside useEffect, right, when I re-render, okay, it will call clean, which is before the page being re-rendered, you will have a cleanup. Okay, so this is the second case. Okay, which is don't have any dependency. So the other use case is have a dependency, which is you have some value changes, and that value change depends on another values. How the demo here is, unfortunately I don't have this server side. I was not prepared. I forgot. I use this demo. Then we can give another demo. Okay. Give another demo. What should I do? Which one depends on another one. We can have a two component. Let's see the content. Okay, tsx useEffect depends on, right? Okay, I have an idea. RFC. So the idea is what? Here I will have an input. here I have input, the type I will just use a number as example, okay? And then here I'm going to have a state. State, let's call number. Okay, number, set number. And I'm going to use state, and the default is 0. So what happened here? I will have another HR. Okay. Here I'm going to have a count. This count is going to be every time I make a change on the number, it will also cause the count to be automatically changed. Okay, which is +1, which is every time this number, small number, when I type 1 in the input, the count will be 2. If I type 3 in the input, the count will automatically change to be 4, which is a +1 on top of number. So here I'm going to have a count. Set count. Okay. Use state still start with 0. Okay. And what's going to happen is here I'm going to have a value. Value is what? Number. And I'm going to have unchanged. Unchanged is what thing? Here I'm going to have a E. Okay. E. The type E. And here is a set number. Number to be what? Number to be E dot target dot value. Okay. This is a change event. Here we'll have HTML input element. Okay. Let's see if it have errors. Oh, this one has to parse int, or you can use a number. Okay, just convert to be a number because e dot target value is a string. Okay, so I don't need to have a type here. Okay. Now we want every time I type, suppose every time I type a number inside here, the count will automatically increase 1. One way we can do is like what? Oh, let me make this one to be input change handler. Okay, I make this one. You probably will say, oh, I can do like this way. Const input change handler. Okay, equals this one, which have E. This one we must give E, which is change event, and have HTML input element. Okay, then here we're going to have what? Here we're going to have set number, and make sure you parse it. Okay, number, otherwise it's a string. And E dot target dot value. Okay. And then you can do set count, which is number +1. Let's see if it works. Okay. Did I put this counter there? I probably didn't put a counter there. Yes, no counter. So I'm going to have a counter. Okay. Now, so every time, and I suppose I increase, I have to make a change. Is this one +1, not the other one. So every time is 1 ahead. Okay, so here now let's see. So every time I change, see here. Oh, it works, right? Definitely it works. Okay, but the problem is I don't want to have this one here. Okay, I want to automatically to do, which is then you can use useEffect to implement that. A useEffect will have what? We'll have a dependency in this case. Depends on what? Depends on whenever the number is being changed. Okay, whenever the number is being changed, execute this function. Whenever this number is changed, execute this function. So in this function, we are going to do what? Set count. Count to be what? This one now we can use number +1 because the number is already being changed. This one is not being changed. Okay, so here now, see here. is already +1 because this initial rendering gonna be executed once. Okay, as the slide say, they're gonna be runs on first render, and anytime a dependency value changes. So on the first time render, the number is 0, and when we set a count 0 + 1, that's why it display 1 here. And now when I change, it also works. Okay, this is a depends on dependency. Whenever there's a change on the dependency, this function will be executed. Okay, and if you don't have suppose here I have another thing. Here let me use an const what's the thing, address. Okay, set address and use state. I want to show you when I'm updating address, it won't cause our set account to be changed because I don't add the dependency there. Here address, I will have a street, which is default 1 2 3 main street. Okay, and I have a street city, the place I live to Fairfield. Okay, I just do 2. Now here I'm going to have a HR, and I'm going to have a button change address, and I'm going to do very simple one. Okay, so here on click I'm going to do is set address, and every time I'm going to do is spread address, and then I'm going to have a street equals address dot street plus number. Okay, do like this way. So every time I'm gonna be changeable. Okay, so now let's take a look at this one. As you can see here, we can display the address. Okay, let's display address. Address dot street, address dot city. Okay, so I have address dot street dot city, and whenever I change address, see here, change address, you will not see count being changed because it's not part of the dependency. Okay, address is not a part of dependency. It won't trigger this one being executed. Okay, but whenever I make a change on the counter, it will trigger the changes on the count because it's a part of the dependency. So this one show you the last case, which is when you add a dependency. Whenever dependency changes, it will cause the function being executed again. Okay, this is one. Dependency array. Okay, this one this is login, and this is dependency one, similar idea. Okay, this one is just to do a fetch. Okay, whenever you put some value, it will automatically fetch. And the last one we'll talk about is the cleanup, which is this one. You can optionally have a cleanup function in React. When we use effect hook with a cleanup function, is essential for managing side effects and avoiding resource leaks. The cleanup function is executed before the effect runs again. Just before, when we finish rendering, okay, before effects runs again, or when the component unmounts. We'll talk about unmounts in this demo. This is particularly useful for cleaning up subscriptions, timers, or side effects that needed to be disposed of properly. Now we'll take a look at a demo. The demo is called a timer component. Okay, I'm going to close everything here. Timer component. .ts component.tsx. The first thing I want to show you what is unmount. Okay, then I'm going to do like this way. Timer component rfc. Timer component. I want to show you console.log timer component is mounted. Okay. And then here I'm going to have a const. What should I do? Toggle? No. What should I do? Toggle. Set toggle. And equals use state, which is by default is true. Okay. Then I'm going to do here have I use a special syntax which is called a toggle. And timer component. What does this one do? This line is equals to if toggle is true, question mark is true, I will display timer component. Okay. Otherwise, nothing. This one is the short version of this one, which means when toggle is true, you will see timer component being displayed in app, under the app, okay? But if this one is false, then display nothing here, which is similar to this sentence, this statement, okay? So now, you can also use if-else condition, okay? If true, I'm going to return, and if false, I do nothing. So here, toggle, I'm going to have a button. Toggle, and here on click, I'm going to do is change reset it, set toggle to be not toggle. I should use a flag or something. Okay, just do like this way, not. Now let me show you what is mount and unmount. Refresh. Now it's mounted. Okay, then I toggle. Because at false, it's unmounted. You didn't see the timer component. And when I toggle again, it's gonna become true. It's gonna be timer component mount. This is called mount, unmount, mount, unmount, mount. Okay, this is the thing. Now let's go back to a timer. The timer, I'm going to do what? I'm going to display every 1 second. I want to show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 like that way. So here I'm going to have a count. Okay, set count equals. Oh, you will say, oh, why use this one again? Because this is the easiest one to understand and demo the code. Okay. Excuse me. H2. Let me drink some water. I'm going to display the count here. What I want is every 1 second, I want to have the count plus 1, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How to do it? How to do it? Yes, you have to have a timer, okay, which is a set interval. Okay, and set interval will accept what? Will accept a function. And here I'm going to do is every 1 second, okay, and I will call set count. Okay, set count to be what? Count plus 1. Here going to have this one. Okay. Here going to have a problem. Here I will call inside interval. Okay, count. Let's see. When I now it's on. Okay. Okay. You 1, 2. See here. See the print out. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? No. And now when I toggle, which means my set interval is being the timer component is not in my app, right? It's not mounted, but you still see the timeout is still there. Okay, and it's not a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not only one set interval being initialized. It has so many. Every time you render, you're gonna have a set timer, a set interval being scheduled. That is the problem. Okay, so I'm going to turn on because why? Because on initial rendering, I have a state count is equal 0. When it will call set timer. Set interval will cause what? Will cause every 1 second. It will cause this one being printed and a set count. Set count is gonna do what? Set count will trigger re-rendering on this component. Will call set interval, which is another set interval being scheduled. And you have this one being executed. Set count. Set count will trigger another re-rendering. It will have entire thing being executed. So you have so many. And even though our timer component is not on the page, it's still there. Okay, that's a problem. To solve the problem, we can use what? useEffect. And useEffect for the set timer, set interval. Okay, I just need to on the first initial rendering. Okay, not depending on anything, not on every rendering. On initial rendering, I have this set interval. Now we're going to see if it works. Okay, so localhost 3000, and let's see our console. You see, does it change again? But you can see here, set interval. It's keep print. This is another problem. The problem now we are using kind of like a using the asynchronous API. Here count plus one doesn't work. You have to use the previous plus one. Okay, now let's see. Zero, 2, 3, 4. Here you can ignore. Okay, 5. Seems working, right? Seems working. Now let me show you. Ta-da! See here. My toggle. I don't have a timer component here, but still we see what? We see this being printed. The interval still there, and that's a problem. The problem is we have to clean up. Otherwise, the interval is still there running, even though I don't have that component here. Still running behind the scene. Okay, and to solve problem, yes, you have in the useEffect, we have a return function. In the return function, we do the clean up tasks. Okay, here it will give us a timer ID, and then here we can do clear interval, which you have what? Which is timer ID. Here, add a semicolon. Okay. Now you will see every time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's being changed. Okay, and when I toggle, see here, toggle stopped. Toggle is unmount. I'm gonna stop. Then I wanna do again. You'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Okay, so that is this one. Okay, clean up. Okay, for clean up resources, and this clean up function runs. Well, let me see. This before the useEffect runs again, or when the component unmounts. When the component runs the clean up code, or before the effect runs again. When we call setter, right, you're gonna be wrong. So here we talk about useEffect. Okay, and have 3 scenario. No array runs on every render. With empty array runs only once after initial render. With dependencies runs on the first render, and every time the dependency changes, it will runs. Okay, so that's it for this video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.